Dul asked me if I'm happy. He regained control of his career, his image, and his feelings, and signed his third album. On the eve of the new tour, he talks to Elle. The first time she went clubbing in Kosovo, Lipa was just a preteen. As she explains it, the British pop star realizes how absurd she sounds. Sitting in her office in London, surrounded by shelves full of books, she searches her phone for a blurry image of a photo from that fateful evening, as if she wanted to prove that it really happened. In the center of the photo, a young Lipa wears a white crocheted dress and smiles radiantly next to her cousin, who is much taller than her and an entourage of fashionable women. Disco nights are a tradition in the Lipa family. This is also why the singer didn't get upset the evening when, while she was around the Lower East Side with Charlie Sex, she met her parents who were having fun at the Box. "We never miss an opportunity to celebrate, and we love to have fun," she explains. "When I go to my aunt's house, everything starts quite calmly, then the music starts and we all find ourselves dancing." And it happens on any Tuesday. Now 28, Lipa has earned a reputation as a leading lady in British nightclubs. On the dance floor, she plays the role of an all-powerful oracle, a savvy young confidant for smitten boys eager to receive the heartfelt advice she's dispensed in hits like New Rules, her 2017 Summer Jam, and Don't Start Now, a sharp farewell letter from his 2022 album, Future Nostalgia. But long before she wrote the feminist electro-pop hits that today have millions of listeners, her family knew her only as Dua, the precocious eldest daughter who left Kosovo as a teenager to realize her dream of becoming a pop star. It was then that she took full advantage of what she calls her big sister energy in life and music, so evident today in the unwavering authority with which she sings her songs. "She is such a big sister," says singer-songwriter Caroline Allen, who immediately noticed Lipa's perceptive nature when they met almost 10 years ago. "With her you can process your feelings, but at the same time she gives you a feeling of strength." A few days ago, Lipa came out with her new album, Radical Optimism. The title came about after a friend told her about this concept, looking for the silver lining in an otherwise difficult world, which seemed to fit perfectly with her ethos, both as a person and as an artist. "I was struck by the idea of walking through chaos with grace and feeling able to weather any storm," the singer said. In the time spent shaping her new album, Lipa decided to take her own advice and take control of her career, her love life, and her image. In 2022, she put an end to her long collaboration with the management and publishing company Tap Music, which boasts unconventional divas such as Lana Del Rey and Caroline Polachek. She then hired her father as her manager and eventually reacquired the rights and masters of her entire catalog. In 2023, she made her big screen debut as a mermaid in the blockbuster film Barbie and recorded the Grammy-nominated song Dance the Night, the theme song for the party scene. She talks about that experience, wearing a fishtail and saying, "Hi, Barbie." "It didn't require any effort. I've always loved playing dress up." Last autumn, she dyed her hair black cherry red, but there is no symbolic reason behind this decision. "So when I don't wear makeup, I still feel like I've made an effort," she explains. "Future Nostalgia seemed very glamorous to me. It was so much fun. But it was just glamour. Lots of colors and lots of brightness. Now I want to be less glossy." In February, Lipa ushered in her new era of liberation at the 2024 Grammy Awards. On the red carpet, she wore a custom metallic mesh gown by Courageous, with her red hair cascading down her shoulders, the embodiment of a fearless warrior queen. Before performing at the awards ceremony, she upped the ante with an outfit change, sporting a black leather corset and sheer sleeves, then scaled a metal cube with feline agility. That evening, she presented the single Training Season, her latest song from Radical Optimism. A jaunty disco track with a theatrical touch of acoustic guitars, synthesizers, and live drums, in which Lipa shows all her bravado. "I don't teach you to love me the right way," she sings, issuing a warning to all the unsuitable suitors who try to waste her time. Now she plays in Serie A. "I went into the studio and simply said, 'Training season's over. Training season is over,'" Lipa recalls. Written in November 2022, Training Season is a reflection on a series of long-term dates and relationships, mostly arranged by his friends. Lipa's previous romances include Anne Warhatted, brother of Bella and Gigi, and French director Romain Gavras. Most recently, she was spotted kissing British actor Callum Turner in West Hollywood. In this period, she talks about her love life only indirectly, preferring to leave some hints in her songs. "I said to myself, 'Och, I'll write what I want.' It's the power of manifesting writing and giving life to something with the power of words. When you are aware of your value, you know what you want and what you don't want, he says about training season. Today I was talking about it with one of my dancers because she was going through a breakup. When I was single, I didn't want that period to pass. And it's in those moments that you learn a lot about yourself, whether it's going on a date or spending time alone. In silence, you understand who you really are. If everyone has clear ideas, there won't be any problems, she says with a shrug. In that song, I looked at everything from a broader perspective. I was doing research work, she adds. Radical Optimism was made with a world-class team of co-writers and producers. Her go-to writer, Aylin, Adele, and Harry Styles, hitmaker Tobias Jessojer, and self-described PC music alum Danny L. Harrell rave consultant. As a big fan of the Australian psychedelic project Tame Impala, Lipa also invited leader Kevin Parker to join her personal wrecking crew in London. We called it the band, says Parker. Not an old-school band, but a spiritual band. Every morning when I entered the studio, I felt like I was part of the Beatles. Inspired in part by the spirit of freedom underlying British nightclub culture, Radical Optimism fits perfectly with the recent resurgence of two new disco queens who livened up clubs in the 2000s, Kylie Minogue, who made a strong comeback last year with Padam Padam, and of course, Sophie Ellis-Bextor, who thanks to the presence of murder on the dance floor in the film Saltburn entered Billboard's Hot 100 for the first time. On Radical Optimism, Dua Lipa combines live instrumentation and electronics to create his overall groove. The result is a cosmopolitan dance pop record with a 70s charm and a lively, resounding affirmation of life. Dua focused on finding this sound, which was very elusive, adds Parker. But it was nice to be in the engine room of the creative process rather than worrying about being the face of it. It was the experience I was waiting for. Houdini, the first single from the album, came about when Parker proposed a bass line that he had recorded himself weeks before the studio sessions. Lipa immediately made it her own, introducing a melancholy post-disco melody. She started singing and everything immediately made sense. The atmosphere is that of the immorality of the early 80s, in a strange, dark, and muggy place. Beautifully suffocating. Hypnotic, comments Parker. Caroline Aylin has been working with Lipa since before she co-wrote her 2017 hit New Rules with Emily Warren and Ian Kirkpatrick, a list of things not to do when an ex rears its ugly head after a breakup. Venting about real-life events, explains Aylin, became essential to their creative process. We talked a bit about what was happening, and from there a pop song was born. It is Lipa's moments of spontaneous catharsis that produce her most penetrating lyrics. Using the firm contralto of her voice, she conveys a pop wisdom that is as incisive as it is understanding. It's her superpower. It's hard not to feel like a very strong person around her. I think sometimes it gives a bit of this feeling to all of us, confesses Aylin. Born in London in 1995, Lipa is the eldest of 3 children of a Kosovo Albanian family. Her parents fled to the UK in 1992, 3 years before Dua was born, due to political instability in Kosovo. Before emigrating, Dua's father, Dukadjan Lipa, sang and played guitar in a rock band called Oda, while her mother, Anesa, studied law. The Lipas settled in the Camden area of London, and Dua grew up speaking Albanian at home and English at school. Between singing lessons on the weekends, she entertained herself by listening to rock and pop records by artists such as Stereophonics, Primal Scream, Robbie Williams, and Atomic Kitten. As she says, the cutting-edge electronic classics of Moloko and Massive Attack were also a major influence in the creation of her music. Dua then returned to Kosovo in 2006, when the country was still under United Nations supervision. In 2008, Kosovo declared independence from neighboring Serbia, making it the youngest country in Europe. As a teenager, Dua began to ponder the horrific stories of ethnic cleansing and war crimes committed against Kosovo Albanians. This resulted in a crucial change in perspective, which is still at the basis of her values, whether it is being an avid supporter of the LGBTQ+ community or calling for a humanitarian ceasefire in Gaza. I've heard stories of friends who have lost family members. I saw burned houses. When you have direct communication with people who have lived through war, a whole new world opens up, and for me it was like that. I feel very close to those who suffer injustices. Whether it's war or coming out to your family, everyone has a different experience. The important thing is to support each other and learn together, she says. Despite having a great time with her cousins in newly independent Kosovo, Lipa was only 15 when she returned to London alone to pursue a music career. She moved into a flat in Camden with an Albanian family friend who was at university. After watching her younger brothers grow up, it was a choice that was now almost as inconceivable to her as going to nightclubs as a teenager. "I told my parents, I don't know how you allowed me to do this, but I knew I wouldn't have had the same opportunities if I had stayed in Kosovo. I was really very determined. I believe that my parents saw a part of themselves in me, which is why they were able to give me so much trust," she adds. At 17, she graduated from secondary school and worked as a hostess in restaurants to make ends meet. Her work in nightclubs and bars as a teenager inevitably prepared her to face the misogyny and exploitation inherent in a male-dominated music industry. If she appears in her songs well beyond her years, it's because she deserved it. "When I started writing songs, I worked at La Bodega Negra, a Mexican restaurant that looked like a sex shop. I would finish work and then go to any nightclub until 3 in the morning. The next day, I woke up and went to the studio until I resumed my shift around 8 p.m. The music I produced reflected my days, or rather my evenings," she recalls. After topping the charts in 2017 with New Rules, taken from her eponymous debut album, and in 2018 together with Calvin Harris with One Kiss, Lipa won the title of Best New Artist at the 2019 Grammys. The following year chased success with the release of his Grammy-winning second album, Future Nostalgia, released at the start of the COVID quarantine until the end of March 2020. Despite the pandemic nearly extinguishing the club scene, Future Nostalgia, it became the singer's first album to reach #1 in the UK and made her one of the most streamed artists on Spotify, with over 10 billion streams for her first 2 records. Once the world tour, Future Nostalgia Tour, ended in December 2022, Lipa finally had time to breathe for what felt like the first time in her adult life. Last year, she went on long holidays from the Mediterranean to India, and she shared culinary experiences with her caravan of family and friends following her. When she posted photos of her travels on Instagram, the internet began dubbing her the vacation queen, poking fun at her supposed tendency to go around having fun for months at a time. At first, critics seemed disrespectful of the years the singer spent without her family, working to become a superstar. Perhaps, however, it is not just the glamorous photos of exotic locations, but also her efficiency as an artist that has hidden her hard work, making it appear magically effortless. It is a sort of curse. Lipa's routine is still so strict that it impressed Parker when they worked together in London. "Dua is a very punctual person. For most stars, it is impossible to arrive on time. But Dua apologizes 1,000 times if she arrives even just 5 minutes late," says the singer. "I can confirm her serious and respectful attitude towards everyone's work," saying that Dua even arrived 15 minutes early for the photo shoot organized by Elle, which portrays her in these pages, and it was 8 in the morning. Through her media company, Service 95, a weekly email newsletter turned podcast and book club, she has interviewed African-American novelist Khaled Hosseini and rock and roll poet Patti Smith. She is also a co-producer of Camden, a new documentary in collaboration with Disney Plus that traces the history of her native London neighborhood and the many influential artists who grew up there, from Madness to Amy Winehouse. "I have been busy for almost 10 years. There wasn't a day that I didn't have work to do. But people will still have things to say. A lot of bad things are said about a lot of people," she comments. "And if being the vacation queen is what she gets, then I accept it. Whether it's performing or going out, if it's not something fun, I don't want it. We need to make room for joy. The world can burn, but damn, if you don't spend your life trying to be happy, I don't know what the point is," she concludes.